What's going on, guys? I just finished up. This is day 1 of the season. I'm about to head to bed, but I wanted to record this video really quick because some guildies and I just finished an 18 Underrot. Actually pretty eventful first key day, finishing at 1650 IO. Neltharion Slayer is super bugged, but I actually wanted to do a quick video kind of talking about our Underrot run and the route that we used. It was a rough run, I'll be honest. We probably would have 2-chested it if we didn't play like absolute trash. We had actually a couple of full group wipes. But I wanted to talk about the route through that dungeon since it won't necessarily be updated in MDT because, of course, I'm pretty sure Nagi is involved with the World First race, so we'll probably not see an update for probably a week or two. And I'm not sure when Keystone Guru will update, but I just wanted to kind of walk through the route and what's been changed, which you won't be able to see here. But Underrot is a very kind of interesting dungeon because if played properly, the timer is super forgiving, and if not, then you will get blasted. But starting the dungeon off, what I like to typically do is I'll probably go back and forth between footage of our key and the route, but I don't recommend doing this normally. But what we have been doing, even in the 19, is we just pull these three packs together. We pull the Fetid Maggot by itself, along with the Chosen Broodmother, and of course the ticks. Now the ticks here, you want everyone to use like a pretty sizable damage reduction cooldown for when these are about to blow up. Watch the frontal on the Maggot, and of course watch the charge on the Matreon. Once, or Matron. It's fucking 3 a.m. that I'm recording this. These ticks, when they blow up, they'll do a bunch of damage to your group per tick, and mostly they'll blow up at the same time. So just, again, have a defensive rolling. Once these 5 die, you'll chain into this pull here. The big thing in these pulls are the priests. If you can stop the headhunters casts, mostly they're traps, that would be better. Or I don't know what it's called. It's like a bound rope something. I don't know what their ability is called. It's like a net they throw at people. If you can try to stun them, great. But mostly you want to make sure you're kicking the priest. More importantly, you want to kick the dark reconstruction or reconstitution or something like that. That'll full heal a mob. That's really bad. If you miss the other cast, Gift of Gahoon, I think it's what it's called. It just shields mobs and it makes them basically immune to dying for the next, I don't know, 20 seconds or whatever. You can purge it off. Now, the most important thing here for a tank is you need to check which side has double matron on it. It is RNG. At least it used to be. I'm not sure if it's going to be static on the left side always, but more often than not, you want to go to whichever side doesn't have the double matron on it. So while you're doing this pack, tanks or group member, group lead, look down the ramp and see which side you need to go to, because these packs are identical, but these packs are not, and these matrons will sometimes be on the right side, sometimes they'll be on the left, so don't always make the assumption. After this, basically W route, you'll pull this next pack. Typically it'll be at the top of the pack, or the top of the path here. You can just tag it in. Again, priority is typically priest, followed by matron, followed by then headhunter, and then after that you'll head into this pull down here. Priority here is going to be priest, followed by spirit, followed by the 2 headhunters. Again, priest, you may mostly want to kick bolts if you can, a Gahoon, and the dark reconstruction or reconstitution. The befouled spirit has a cast called Howling Despair. You want to kick that because it's really big AoE. On a 19, I think it went off and it only did like 40% of our health, so it's really not that bad if it's not fortified. So we're chilling there. Of course, you do boss. I have boss guides. I'll link the video for the boss guides down below. I did 1-minute boss guides for that. After that, this is really cool. So this pack here, they pushed it back this way. So it's very easy to do the skip now. Very nice for pugs. It was possible to do it before, but it was very tight, and often pug groups were normally the ones that would mess it up. So you'll basically sneak right through here. You want to be careful of the Lasher Patrol. You don't want to pull them, but you'll be grabbing these 3 slimes. And then what I typically like to do is I like to clump these up in like packs of 5 or 6. So we grab 1 Lasher, 1 Extra Rot, and 1 Swarmer. You group them up right in the middle here, you blow them up, whatever. Same thing here, we'll typically then like grab, this will be double Swarmer plus Maggot. So I typically do this. You need to focus down the Blood Swarmers. Priority here is Blood Swarmer, kick Lasher, stun Maggot. Those are the priorities. Kill Blood Swarmer, kick Lasher, stun Maggot. They made the breath a lot easier to see on this guy. With it being Raging Week, obviously it's difficult, sub 30%. If you have a Soothe, great. If not, just everyone needs to be watching out for it. Next pull, again, you kind of want to clump this up. If you can help it, try never to... If Rots are fine to double up, but most of these other ones, like Swarmers and stuff, you don't. You want to avoid doubling up. So this pull is fine. And then lastly, you'll end it with this pull here. Now, I think in our dungeon, we ended up going to Kragmaw. Sometimes people like to pull this pack first if you need cooldowns, but if you don't, just go into Kragmaw and you're chilling. Once Kragmaw dies, again, 1 minute boss guides will be linked in the description below. You can pull these guys onto Worm if your group is like kind of coordinated or your tank is comfortable. The Grotesque Horror does an AoE thing. I forgot what it's called. There's a couple of bolts it'll cast, and then it's going to do like an AoE channel. And if you don't kick the channel, you'll wipe. After that, I like to go right side, mostly because I like pad. I think technically the going left is more efficient with percent, but you can get 5 target cleave here, which is always great for most classes. If you're really comfortable with like kick, stuns, and all that stuff, you can actually pull them into the defilers, but we ended up just doing this pack by itself and then the defilers. These guys are a little scary. You basically want to assign a 2 kick rotation to each mob. It could be a melee and like 1 melee, 1 range, and that's fine to each. If you have a heavy range comp, this pull gets a little bit scarier, but it's better. I think it's better to kick the volley than the curse. Like, you can let the curse go off, and you can always decurse it if you have any curses in your group. And then, of course, we have Mr. Sporecaller Zancha. After this, there's 2 different strats that I've seen people do, or I would recommend. If you have somewhat good amount of kicks, like if you're playing a Resto Shaman, a Prop Paladin, or maybe a melee heavy comp, I like to kind of skip around this side, and you'll pull this Horror with this Defiler. Focus the Worm. Just kick Defiler on volley, but make sure the Worm is dying first so you don't wipe to the Worm. After that, you'll go to the center pack. They added a Worm to this pack. There is now a Worm in here, the Grotesque Horror. It's always going to sound like I'm saying hooer, but that's all right. You'll blow this pack up. Now, once the Worm dies, what I like to do is I tag in the Faceless Corruptor here. And then once we kind of have, you know, I have threat established and this pack is starting to like really kind of dwindle out, you tag this guy. Now, one thing that they did is this Worm right here, they moved this Worm this direction, so it's very easy to tag this guy without pulling this Worm. But they moved this Worm this way up towards the wall, so you can't skip around it anymore. So you're going to have to pull this one, but that's fine. So typically what I'll do is I'll chain these guys in at some point, but not right away. Like, you want to wait till your pull. So I'm going to put these separately for now. You can also do it after the pull is over if you're fine doing that. 2 target cleaves a little weird. By chaining them in during the pull, you can still maintain that kind of flow of combat. And then as they start to die off, then you can start chain pulling these guys down the hill. You'll need to pull this one here. And then they added 1 extra Worm at the very end of the hill, right at the bottom of the slope. So this pull is actually kind of scary now. You can still walk around this one, pull it if you'd like, but you'll be over percent at that point. You pull these 2 guys together, plus the Worm, and that puts you pretty much right at 100. The count has changed a little bit. Again, MDT is now out of date. So this is what the route would look like. And then you would, of course, go downstairs, last boss, and just blast away. So that's the route that I prefer for this place. Again, this worked for week 1. It's great. I think it's just a good pug route. I did it with guildies who typically don't even push keys, and we were able to get a 19 done first night. So feeling pretty good. These ticks are the scariest, a big scary part. Again, those priority kicks here. Making sure you're targeting the right mobs in like these packs. That's pretty important. And that's it. Yeah. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you guys are enjoying the season thus far, 1 day in. All right, I'll catch you all very soon. Peace.